Why Gen Z is your workforce future? What if the key to building a powerhouse team lies in winning over a generation that's rewriting the rules of work? Generation Z is here, bringing bold ideas and big expectations, and if you're not ready, you're missing the boat. Hi, I'm Chiraz Kelly, a recruitment strategist with over 30 years in HR, talent acquisition, and people strategy. I've watched hiring transform, and today, I'm revealing free strategies to master recruiting Gen Z for engagement and retention in 2025. From what drives this tech-savvy generation to how to keep them committed long-term, we'll uncover how to make your company their top pick. Stick with me to discover how recruiting Gen Z can revolutionize your HR strategy and shape the future of hiring. What defines Gen Z in recruitment? So, who is Gen Z? And why is recruiting Gen Z such a game changer? Born between 1997 and 2012, Gen Z is the most diverse, digitally native generation yet, projected to make up 30% of the workforce by 2025. They're not chasing just a paycheck, they crave purpose, flexibility, and growth opportunities. Unlike millennials, who often value job security, Gen Z prioritizes authenticity, social impact, and mental health. Companies like Microsoft and Patagonia are nailing recruiting Gen Z by showcasing cultures of innovation and social responsibility. With 80% of Gen Z researching employers online think LinkedIn, Glassdoor, even TikTok, your workplace culture must resonate. They're quick to spot inauthenticity. So how do you build trust and attract this generation? Let's dive into the strategies that make recruiting Gen Z a success. Top 3 strategies for recruiting Gen Z. Recruiting Gen Z for talent engagement doesn't demand a big budget, just smart, authentic moves. First, optimize your digital presence. Gen Z lives on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So share raw, engaging content. Think employee-led videos, project spotlights, or reels showing your team's daily vibe. For example, a quick TikTok of a Gen Z employee sharing their favorite project can go viral. Second, embrace employee advocacy. Encourage your Gen Z staff to post about their work experiences using hashtags like #life at your company, their peers, trust them over corporate ads. Third, rethink job postings. Ditch bland requirements and highlight your mission, like join a team driving innovation with flexibility to thrive. Fourth, showcase your values. Highlight diversity, inclusion, or sustainability efforts through free channels like blog posts or social media. Gen Z cares deeply about these. Fifth, streamline hiring with free tools like Google Forms for applications or Calendly for scheduling to meet Gen Z's need for speed and transparency. Finally, engage in their spaces, comment on their posts, or join trending conversations to show you're part of their world. These strategies amplify your HR strategy. But why do they resonate so strongly with Gen Z? Benefits of mastering Gen Z recruitment. A strong approach to recruiting Gen Z delivers transformative benefits for talent engagement and employee retention. First, you tap into innovation. Gen Z's digital fluency and creative mindset spark fresh ideas, helping your company stay competitive in a fast-changing world. Second, it slashes hiring costs. When your brand attracts Gen Z through organic channels like social media or employee referrals, you rely less on expensive job boards or recruiters. Third, it boosts retention. Gen Z employees who feel aligned with your values are 20% less likely to leave, per Gallup data. A Gen Z-friendly workplace culture also enhances candidate experience, making applicants feel valued from their first click to their final interview. Look at Shopify. Their focus on flexibility and creativity draws Gen Z talent who stay for the mission. But what happens if your recruitment strategy fails to connect with this generation's unique needs? Challenges in recruiting and retaining Gen Z. Recruiting Gen Z isn't without obstacles, and missteps can hurt your talent engagement efforts. Inauthenticity is the biggest trap if you promise a supportive, inclusive culture, but deliver long hours or rigid policies. Gen Z will call you out on platforms like Glassdoor or X, damaging your reputation overnight. Consistency is another challenge. Your employer brand must align across job ads, social media, interviews, and onboarding, or you'll lose trust fast. Ignoring mental health is a non-starter. Gen Z prioritizes well-being, and a lack of support, like no flexible schedules or wellness programs, will push them away. Small businesses face a tough road too, competing with big brands' polished campaigns without the same resources. High expectations for feedback and growth also pose a risk. Gen Z will leave if they feel their career is stagnating. Finally, their short attention spans mean a slow, clunky hiring process can lose them to competitors. These pitfalls can derail your HR strategy. So how do you avoid them to keep Gen Z engaged and retained? Balancing engagement with retention for Gen Z. The secret to recruiting Gen Z lies in balancing engagement with retention through authenticity and connection. Start by crafting an employer value proposition, EVP, that speaks to Gen Z. Highlight flexible work, learning opportunities, or social impact, and be transparent about what you can deliver. For example, a small startup might share how a Gen Z hire led a sustainability project to show real impact. Involve employees, their stories, like a young team member's growth from intern to manager. Build trust. Prioritize feedback. Weekly check-ins or anonymous surveys show Gen Z their voices matter. Invest in development, offer mentorship, free platforms like Coursera, or clear career paths to fuel their ambition. Human connection is key. Let candidates meet potential teammates during interviews to feel your workplace culture. Companies like Asana excel by aligning their brand with Gen Z values like transparency and well-being, fostering loyalty from day one. It's about creating an environment where Gen Z feels valued, heard, and empowered. So, what's next for recruiting Gen Z as the workplace evolves? The future of recruiting Gen Z in 2025? The future of recruiting Gen Z for engagement and retention is exciting but complex. By 2025, hyper-personalization will lead. Companies will use data to tailor job ads to Gen Z's priorities, like remote work or social justice. Social media will dominate, with TikTok and Instagram Reels becoming key for authentic employer branding. From employee takeovers to behind-the-scenes glimpses, diversity and inclusion will be non-negotiable. Gen Z demands proof, like public diversity metrics or inclusive hiring practices. Technology will amplify efforts. AI tools can analyze Gen Z sentiment on platforms like LinkedIn or X to refine your HR strategy in real time. Remote and hybrid work will shape recruitment, with companies showcasing global flexibility to attract diverse Gen Z talent. But challenges loom. Maintaining authenticity in a crowded digital space and standing out without big budgets will test smaller organizations. The future of hiring Gen Z is about building trust, aligning with their values, and adapting to their expectations. How will your company rise to the challenge? Conclusion. Recruiting Gen Z for engagement and retention is your gateway to a dynamic, future-ready workforce in 2025. By leveraging free strategies like authentic digital content, employee advocacy, mission-driven job postings, and a commitment to values like inclusion and well-being, you can craft a workplace culture that captures Gen Z's heart and mind. The benefits: innovative talent, lower hiring costs, stronger retention are game-changing, but only if you avoid traps like inauthenticity, inconsistency, or neglecting mental health. Balancing engagement with retention means fostering transparency, growth, and connection to keep Gen Z invested. As we move into the future, recruiting Gen Z will evolve with personalization, technology, and a focus on inclusion, redefining how we build teams. So, how will you attract and keep Gen Z talent? Drop your ideas in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on shaping an HR strategy for this generation. If this video sparked inspiration, give it a like, subscribe for more insights on the future of hiring, and share it with anyone aiming to master talent engagement. I'm Chiraz Kelly, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay real, stay connected, and keep building a workplace Gen Z loves.